Yo, Nick, you still got to come out there and talk about My Hero with me.
What's up, everybody? Saltiest Gaming, and we're back with another podcast. T.S.P episode 32.
32. Yay.
2.
What's up, everybody?
Not much, man. We're getting stopping, bro.
Yeah, just talk all at once, okay?
Yeah. Well,
How'd everybody go?
You paused there for a second. I was just like wondering, did he forget the number he literally just said?
Okay, we got a media inception going on. Nintendo Direct on the panel with
What's
the super
good?
chat. Dilly.
Dilly in
What's
this
poppin', that $2 super chat. But what I like to do when we start off is I like to shout out the people that are here early, nice and early. Brujo, Irrelevant Fraud, didn't show up, but he's in the chat. Jesse Darby, UK Daz, Other Zinc. Who else we got? Michael Monkey Punch. Thank you. HTK 360. Stinking Corpse.
Jesse Darby.
You the best. Yeah, Jesse Darby.
Crap gamer in the house, bruh.
Crap Gamer, what is up? What is happening? Who else did I miss? Britty T, some guy. Thanks for being here, some guy.
Some young guy.
Timothy Dixon, I love all of you guys. Thanks for being here. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get 30 likes and share out to your favorite social media. This is going to be a great episode. We got some good topics here. We got a great panel. These guys came through in the clutch. A couple of the regulars. One is sick. He's still a fraud. He's sick with the fraud sickness. His name is Irrelevant Native, and Fonz is dealing with some personal stuff. So we have some great guests joining us. First up is Titan Drago. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just beat Far Cry 5. Can't wait for Far Cry 6, man.
Oh yeah.
Man,
So
give it time.
we won't spoil the ending for anybody, but what'd you think, man? What'd you think of your ending that you got, or did you get both of them?
Well, I definitely only got one ending.
Okay.
Is it true about like ending the game in 10 minutes? Do you know?
Yeah, you can actually do that. You know that chase. There's a way to do it. There's a way to.
I gotta
do
go
it.
back and try that again. I've been wanting to try that.
So did you get a happy ending?
That sounded not very good.
I had to.
About on the game or when I was done playing.
Yeah, you know, in the game, was it happy for you? Did you like it?
I mean, I liked it. I don't know, happy or not. I mean, it wasn't like sad or anything, but it was cool. I thought. I'm trying not to give out too much information.
I feel you, man. I feel you. When I did the review of Far Cry myself, I was a little perplexed at the ending. Honestly, I'm not going to get into it, but it was not my thing. Let's just put it that way. So, so you enjoyed it then? You say you think it was okay? Then that's cool.
And I'm not really a single player type gamer. You know, I like multiplayer games, and this was good. It's definitely got my seal of approval. So.
Okay. And so that's pretty much what you've been rocking out on lately. The Far Cry. Anything else?
Smite.
Oh yeah, we talked about Smite in the pregame. You're still rocking out on Smite, huh?
Still.
Oh no.
Okay. One of these days I might have to hop in there with you.
Still consuming me.
Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna be like, oh, that's fun, and then you're gonna realize why you quit. Probably that's what's gonna happen.
I mean, I only quit because my friends didn't play. That's the only reason why I quit, because it was boring playing that by yourself, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I couldn't ever get into Smite. I don't know what it is. The MOBA. What is it? It's a MOBA, right?
MOBA.
It just didn't do it for me, man. So props to you for still playing that. Our other guest, Nintendo Direct, thank you for being here, man.
Yes,
I know
sir.
we talked yesterday about needing some guests, and you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to make it, and you come through in the clutch like Kobe, Game 7.
Like
Thank you.
I prefer MJ.
Okay, MJ. We'll give you both titles because I appreciate it. What have you been up to? I know you've been playing some indies on the Switch and stuff that. Like,
sir.
What have you been playing, man?
Man, I'm currently playing Golf Story on the Nintendo Switch, which is surprisingly, it was a good surprise to me, man. I would compare it to, it's a top down kind of RPG looking game, kind of like Pokemon. with the Hot Shots golf mechanics when it comes to golfing. It's got some RPG aspects where you have to get certain clubs, certain items, you level up. So it's got an RPG system to it. So it's not just a golf game. I thought it was just going to be a golf game and then ended up being a whole different world. So I'm really into that. I'm really playing that. And so that's a good surprise. Finished Kamiko last week. Going to be doing a review over that too. That's another top-down 8-bit sort of Legend of Zelda type game. So I've just been really rocking out the indie games on the Switch. And other than that, still playing Madden, still playing the Xbox with the homies. And that's been about it.
Hey, the funny thing is we got back in 2K18, right? The microtransaction simulator.
Yeah.
So we must be the dumbest motherfuckers in gaming, I guess.
I don't know about dumb.
You know, like we keep going back to the game.
Train wreck, bro.
We almost have to slide our credit card in when we want to shoot a jump shot, right?
Right, dude. Yeah, well, you keep going back, but hey, I'm proud of you though. You're sticking to your guns by just grinding it out. Me, on the other hand, I'm stupid. I'm the one who's spent money.
Hey, shout out to
Salty.
Yeah, shout out to Mooching. I told my friend Von Druk, I was like, I'm not gonna pay for more VC to level up this character because I started a new guy and then I realized how much it would take to level him up.
Ridiculous.
And then he ended up sliding me a 20 piece to get some VC. So
there you go.
In the long run, it's a mooching effect, but yeah, I'm playing that game. It's fun. Let's see who else. We got our regular panel members. Fonz, I thought you weren't going to be here, but you are. What is up, my
snuck in?
Oh no!
I am Captain Neutral, and I send this message to any logical gamers taking refuge on the toxicity of social media. We are here. We
Jesus
are waiting.
Christ!
That was awesome, dude. Awesome.
I love it.
Hey. Anyway, look, I'm on 2.5 hours sleep, and I said I got to make this TSP. Damn it!
I thought you were gonna say 2.5 men, but okay,
2.5 men.
That's suspect, bro.
I'm
Leather jacket.
That's what you was going with.
I'm super hot,
But anyway,
boy.
you know what, man? We're on the eve of me becoming a better father, and I just can't wait to play that God of War tomorrow.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Oh God!
Oh yeah! I forgot about that.
Don't push that, Derek.
Terrible dad.
How'd you forget?
You'll have to tell me how it feels when you pop the game in and you become instantly a better father. You know?
Yeah, I just think I'll be better. You know, I'll be more nurturing. I'll be more. You know, I think I'll be more at ease and just want to sit with my kids and talk to them more. And you know, I won't be like, "Get out of here, bastards! I'm watching something." No.
Yeah, explain to me how chopping dudes' heads off makes you a better father. You just let me know how that works, and you just send me that DM.
If you wanted to be a better father, go home and tell your kids you love them tonight, okay?
No. If you're gonna be a better
I'll
father,
give
you
him a
gotta
hug.
tell him to be better.
Give
So,
them hugs.
yeah, we want to overthink it, but yeah. Shout out to everybody that is playing God of War. I'm jealous of you. I don't have a PS4 yet, but I'll get one, and that will be the first game I do play. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Punk Kiddish Gaming, thanks for being here, man. What have you been up to? I know you're hyped about God of War. I saw your tweet.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to play that. Brother-in-law and I, we set up our accounts on PlayStation, so did that today, ready to go. Just watching the clock tick down, so that's exciting, man. But what I've been playing lately, obviously, what week ago I beat Tomb Raider. Kind of going through some Game Pass stuff. I beat finished Ori, and actually was playing Recore since it was on here. And I know a lot of people diss on it. I'm actually kind of having fun with it. It's not a bad game, and the graphics are pretty sweet with this definitive edition. And I've just been kind of like just trying to bust out some games, make my $10 worth it, you know?
Yeah. That's cool.
So, yeah, that's about it, man. But yeah, definitely tomorrow, man. I think everyone's pumped for that. We'll give you the play-by-play.
Did you take the day off for God of War? Or
I did not, man.
Okay. So you really don't like it that much? No, I'm just kidding. So what would you give Rise of the Tomb Raider out of 10?
8.5?
Cool. Sweet.
Too low.
Too low. Game of the generation.
4. No, I'm kidding.
Last but not least, Bloody Knuckles. Thanks for being here, man. What have you been up to? Monster Hunter World, as usual?
As usual, yes, because today they actually just put out their new update, adding basically what equates to a raid boss into the game.
Oh, shit.
Added the Golden Goddess, Kolveteroth, You can have all 16 players in the Gathering Hub that could be in one session, in one lobby, all working towards breaking apart this giant golden monster. Every squad's in their own instance, but they're all working together towards basically just breaking apart and gathering as many uh rewards together. It's just a really awesome thing in the way that it works. It's so cool that they've added something like this for free. Like Capcom is really killing it with Monster Hunter World, and I'm just enthralled with it. But
Awesome.
other than that, man, I actually started playing Hellblade. That game just is amazing with the story. The sound design truly is
And
top
those
notch.
and you know what else? Those puzzles are dog shit.
Oh, I don't really have any issues with them. I actually find them to be interesting the way that they work. Like I'm enjoying the game. Like I said, man, everything that Ninja Theory had put into that game really is just like top notch. Like they knocked that game out of the park. I really like the acting. The story is actually really interesting so far. And like I said, man, the sound design, they deserved the awards that they won for sound design because it is some next level kind of stuff.
True, man. And we'll talk about. It's a good segue, so we'll get into this first topic. Hellblade sells 50K in the first week. If you guys didn't know, they had this thing going on. It was kind of a challenge for the community. If they hit the goal of selling 50K, they would donate $25,000 to charity, which is cool. I haven't really seen, a developer do this. I think it was a cool thing. I think we should see it more when it comes to games, but I'm not sure how much we will see. What do you guys think of that 50K mark? Do you think it's kind of low for Xbox, just right on the money? I know Xbox has been getting some shit with that number because they're like, oh shit, on PlayStation 4 and PC it sold for 500K and blah blah blah, but that was within 3 months, I believe.
Yep.
And to hit that number, I think it's a great number when it comes to a game that released a long time ago. I think it's getting good traction on the console itself. What do you guys think? We'll start off with Fonz.
What do I think about what exactly?
The 50K in a week
I think
sells for Hellblade. Do you think it's low?
I guess it's not really low in terms of this game, because if you look at it with the PlayStation, and I believe it was on PC as well, right? Hit 500K or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think it's pretty good. It's pretty solid numbers just for Xbox, but I think the game just doesn't appeal to the masses. I really don't. I think this game is a very, very niche product. I think it's only going to appeal to a certain demographic, and I'm not one of those people. Like, for me, I don't mind a walking simulator, but with this game, the added issue with mental illness and stuff, just it doesn't really grab me, man. Like, I don't want to play this game. I don't have any feeling towards it. I don't tell other people not to play the game. It's just not for me. But I saw a few reviews back in the day about it, and people were like really shitting on the puzzles and stuff because they're like, well, just look around the environment to find symbols, and I was like, wow, that's pretty, uninspiring and not really innovative at all. It's just, I don't know. It is what it is, man. It's a game that is a niche product.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't picked the title up myself because I don't think it's my type of game. I tried to mooch the game, but I didn't get the game. I was unsuccessful in that endeavor. Honestly, I don't know if I will pick it up, but I do think it's a good figure that they hit. I think it's an easy target for people to say, these type of games aren't selling on the platform, but people forget that it's been out for so long. Drago, what do you think, man? Did you pick the game up?
I did not. Maybe next year on the spring sale. Maybe.
Okay.
I spent like $100 on spring sale games, man.
So it's not your type, not your type of game, huh?
Nah, I'm hardcore multiplayer, and that game. I mean, from what I heard, it's good, but I'm not gonna. I've got other games that take priority over that one.
Okay. Bloody, what do you think, man?
No, I think it's a solid number. But the issue that I had with it is the fact of that it struggled to hit that within the week. Like, it hit it just before the very end of it. And I do agree with where Fonz is coming from. It was not a game that would appeal to a lot of people. However, it was something that a lot of people were clamoring for and were hyping up, yet we didn't see the support for it. It is a very cinematic single player game. It is very story driven. The combat, while fun, is very spread out, so it is a slower pace. And from what I've talked with a lot of people, it's too slow for a lot of people. And that brings up the question is that a lot of people want very fast paced action based games. These kinds of slow based combat and story aren't always going to have that. And unfortunately, that's a drag for some people because they find themselves having trouble to struggle through it. I was enjoying it because of the fact that all the lore that was placed around all the story of everything that's going on, I found it very enthralling. But not what I've noticed is that with some games like this, is that you either have all story and very light gameplay, or you have a game that's all gameplay and very light story. There's some games that really hit that perfect sweet spot. Look at BioShock 1, Red Dead Redemption, a lot of others. But some of those top tier games that are hitting both are starting to fall far in between on anything like that.
Yeah. Oh, I feel you, man. Nick, I know you didn't pick this game up. Any thoughts before you?
I just have to agree with Fonz. It was for a very niche audience, and I mean, I would love to play the game. Honestly, I don't have anything against the game. I just think that it's Xbox, and the Xbox fans and the Xbox audience wants a certain thing, and like Fonz said, that niche group, that's not a big part of the Xbox audience. So to me, I think 50K, that's a decent number. And like I said, I want to play it. I've seen it. I've watched certain gameplay. I've seen side by sides about how well it looks better on the X, whatever. So I do want to pick it up. I know it's only $30, so I know it's fairly cheap. I just haven't done it yet, so that's laziness on my part. But I mean, like Fawn said, niche. That's pretty much what it comes down to for sales on the Xbox.
Yep. Punk, any thoughts before we move on?
I'm with the rest of the group. I didn't pick it up. As far as the number goes, I mean, to keep the standards low, it's good. You know, it's been out for a while. A lot of people have already played it on the PC and PlayStation 4, where it sold tons. So like, they already made their money. And as far as the cause goes, I mean, anything to do with any like disease or mental health or any type of like issue. I mean, anyone who's not for supporting that stuff, I mean, who's not for that, you know? So that's good. But yeah, not a game for me. I've watched gameplay on it, because, you know, the hype was all real when it was coming. I never really checked it out, but I'm watching it, and it's not for me. It's not my type of game.
Okay. Let's move on to the next topic for sure. So let's talk about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. There's been some interesting rumors regarding this game. First of all, there's rumors that it's going to pattern itself after Overwatch when it comes to the heroes. Another thing that's a rumor for this game, which is a big one, is it's going to drop without a single player campaign. What the fuck is going on over at Activision? I mean, I don't understand. Okay, I was on a couple podcasts, and I do understand what they're doing. So they're going to put a battle royale mode in COD. So that's one of the things that they did. It's money. It's exactly, Nick. It's money, right? They've seen the trend. They've seen the Fortnites. They've seen the PUBGs. And they want to hop on that bandwagon, and they come out with this measly excuse that, hey, we didn't have enough time to complete the campaign. If you guys didn't know, Call of Duty runs on a 3 dev cycle. So they have 3 completely different dev teams to get a Call of Duty. That means that they have 3 years to get a game out, and they've never had a problem getting, you know, the campaign out. So what's different? What's different about it is that Battle Royale is the big thing, and everybody's trying to make that money. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about all of this. Do you think that, you know, Call of Duty is making a big mistake? I do. I think a lot of people out there love the Call of Duty campaigns. They buy the game for that. And it sets a bad trend for gaming, in my opinion. Let's start off with Nintendo Direct. What do you think, man?
This news, when I saw this, I scratched my head, and then I had to think about it for a little bit. And then as I was going through Twitter, there was more rumors that it would be a battle royale mode. And then, like you said, their heroes would be more like Overwatch. And I'm starting to just look at it, and I'm like, they're trying to steal if these rumors are true, they're trying to steal every good idea that has been a great idea the last 2 or 3 years when it comes to first-person shooters or trends in gaming. As far as the battle royale goes, Overwatch, we know how much of a monster that game was. Yeah, I agree with Fuzzy. Fuzzy in the chat, he said that if there's no pass on COD, if there's no campaign, that's the way I think about it. I know a lot of people, I do, like a lot of casual gamers that aren't on Xbox Live all the time, that they do buy Call of Duty for the campaign. And when they find out that there's no campaign on this game, it's going to be a big deal to them. So yeah, I think this is bad. No bueno if this is true. As far as following the trends, I mean, how many more battle royales can we get? Cliffy B just put one out. Freaking High Res is putting one out. How many more can we have? Like, it's starting to get very saturated, and it's concerning.
Yeah, the funny thing is I saw something on Twitter, and they're like, "Hey, a fun game for E3 is to take a shot every time you see someone mention a battle royale game." I think that you'd get alcohol poisoning by the end of E3, right? Fonz, what do you think, man? Do you think this is a bad trend when it comes to COD and stuff?
I think it's bad in general, not just for COD. I hope it doesn't become a trend in these types of games, because, to be honest, in the past, when I did play Call of Duty, I played it for the campaign. Okay, back in the day, because I wasn't much of a multiplayer COD guy, and I say that because COD is very different from most of the other shooters. It's more Twitch based. It's like more, you got to be fast, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't care for it.
When did you start playing COD?
Man, from the very first COD.
Okay.
I was just never a big fan of it online. It wasn't my thing.
Because I'd agree with you past Modern Warfare 2. With everyone past that is very Twitch based, but before
but even back then, like, I wasn't big on the game. I preferred, back then I was more into like Ghost Recon and those type of games. It was even more slower paced, because the Ghost Recon of old, if you guys remember, I mean, it was very slow paced. It was very different. I love it. I wish they would go back to that shit. Anyway, but this, man, not having a campaign, it's like taking half the game away. And for $60, fuck you. I'm not going to buy it.
That is the perfect quote. The perfect quote right there, dude.
That's the other concerning thing everyone's talking about. Are you still going to pay 60 for it?
Yeah. They're going to charge 60 for that.
Absolutely.
60.
That's a guarantee.
And it'll be $60 for a free-to-play model that's been going on for the last 2 years. They're gonna force people to pay $60 for it.
But here's the thing: it's Call of Duty. People are gonna buy that like out the ass. Call of Duty always sells, no matter how bad we could talk about it. Call of Duty is the biggest casual pool. Everyone's gonna buy that game, whether we about anything or not. And I agree. I was one of the people that actually enjoyed the Call of Duty campaigns. The Black Ops campaigns I absolutely loved. The Modern Warfare campaigns I dug all the way through. I didn't really feel Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare. I haven't played World War II yet, but hearing that this one's not going to have a single player, that's what I really cared about in the Black Ops, because those ones were always the most unique and outlandish, and I loved about it. So this, I haven't been really big in the multiplayer shooters for a long time. I was like, the last one I was really heavy in was Destiny, back in Destiny 1. But other than that, I don't like just nonstop competitive shooters. I get bored of them really quick. That's why I dropped Overwatch.
I swear to God, like the executives at Activision are like, let's see how much we can fuck with our fan base and still watch them buy our games. It's gonna happen. So after Modern Warfare 2, after Zampella left, their games went downhill with the multiplayer. They're just the multiplayer is ass. The aspect is ass, but they had campaign, and now it's like they're switching it up. It's like, all right, let's take the campaign completely out, and I hope extra resources, that these resources are going toward their their multiplayer aspect of the game, whether it be battle royale or whatever. I just hope that it's good. I mean, man, it's such a strange thing to me.
And you know what? You bring up a good point, Drago. After Vince Zampella left to go start, what was it, Respawn with Titanfall? You're right. Their multiplayer did start to suck ass because they started becoming the same thing with very little iteration, or just a carbon copy of the other projects. Look at what happened with Black Ops 3. literally they took right out of Destiny's playbook. It's just like, hey, let's just make all these different characters have a special ability that activates after a while.
Oh
Basically
my
creating
gosh.
basically creating
Raps.
supers, but they were not like unique at all.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's like what Fawn said on the other podcast the other day about how they're money hungry and this and that, about how I think it was on Cliffy B, on how he's like he only sees dollar signs or whatever, and he's just copying everything he sees. That you said that, right? And
Yeah.
like they're doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I think it's a sign of desperation, honestly.
You know, on a side note, I just want to say real quick, this is a little off topic, but not because we're talking about money hunger and people going or these developers going after gaming trends. Guys, I just heard today that for Red Dead Redemption 2, there will be no battle royale mode. Yes.
Sweet.
No,
That's good
I wanted
news.
that.
But will there
honest-
be any sort of multiplayer aspect to the game?
Oh, they
That's what I'm
will.
hearing.
They
No,
will.
they
They had it in the last
they
one,
already
right?
stated that they're having or bringing back the Red Dead Online, but
Uh-huh.
that's the big question on how they're gonna do the online mode, because while the online was cool in the first one, it did have its kind of just blandness to it, and then of course with the way that we've seen how they monetized and worked GTA Online, that has a lot of people worried on what they're gonna do with the online for Red Dead too.
Just bring back Liar's Dice.
You know what? That
Yes.
kind
No.
of sucks to me. It's like you guys are like happy about that, but it kind of sucks to me because Battle Royale is technically it's like in its infancy. Yeah, the market's getting flooded with all these games with it, but I want to see more iterations and different takes on Battle Royale.
You're
Personally,
getting plenty of them. You're
I
getting
kind
plenty
of
of them.
agree
You
with
just
you.
look.
I agree with you, Drago, but at the same time, like Battle Royale, the thing is there's not a lot of iteration. There's a few people trying to do something unique, but that's few and far in between. Like I stated before, Battle Royale this gen is just last gen's Horde mode. After Gears killed it with Horde mode, every game was trying to do a Horde mode. Not every game did it right. So it's one of those
Yeah, and
things
that's
that
gonna
with
happen,
Battle
yeah.
Royale, it's another one of those modes that is kind of oversaturated, and only a few of them are really going to be able to last because they're doing it right.
And
Fortnite is one of those, and PUBG. But unless something does a big outlandish thing that makes it unique on its own, it's just going to be another carbon copy of the two that are leading the charge.
And props to the developers for Red Dead for just taking a stand, man. I think that speaks volumes that they don't have to follow trends, and like, hey, we have confidence in our game. We're gonna make it the way we want to make it. We're not just money hungry. They're gonna make the money no matter what, right? They can push the game out. They're gonna be stomping everybody. That's why people are moving dates and shuffling around and pissing their pants, basically. Because they put out a quality content. Look no further than the first Red Dead in 4K. That game looks amazing, and it looked amazing before the update, man. So these guys put time into their games, and when I see these trends, and you got your Cliffy B's out there who do nothing but chase the dollar. It just kind of makes me question, some things there. But Battlefield is rumored to have a Battle Royale mode too as well. Surprise, surprise, right? I think that if Battlefield comes out and has a campaign and then COD doesn't, I think that might sway a lot of gamers to go to the Battlefield route. I know that they're completely different games, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I think if Battlefield says, "Hey, fuck it, we're gonna have a campaign," COD doesn't. I think they could capitalize off of that misstep by Call of Duty. What do you guys
I
think?
tweeted about it the other day. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But
I tweeted about it the other day. If they put as much resources as Fortnite is putting into Battle Royale, like they can dominate this genre. There won't need to be any other ones.
Okay.
But
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
You were saying that they're looking at doing a battle royale. Battlefield can do it because you got to think they're already used to having such a high number of players as it is. They're what right now on their big team battles for Battlefield 1 is what 64 players, 32. Them pushing it up just a little bit more is not completely out of the question. It's easy for them to do. They have the technology that's able to do it, and they have the practice of using such a large amount of people. And you got to think too, this is 32 versus 32. There we've seen that there's some people doing with Fortnite, they've brought back the 50v50. So Battlefield being able to do that on their own thing wouldn't be too far out of the question, and them doing a free for all, I can absolutely see it. It may be a little bit different on how they would have to approach it, since you're using a game that typically had pre-made loadouts and stuff like that. But it's something that isn't completely unseeable for them. They would have a much better chance of doing it because they're used to handling such a high player count compared to Call of Duty, which at most had what, 16 maybe.
Yeah, and personally, I don't see how Call of Duty works in the battle royale realm. There's gear pickup. They'd have to make a completely different map, which they're probably putting resources into that. That's what's taking time, because COD is traditionally fast twitch small maps, and it's first person only. Shout out to Fox. She was saying that one of the CODs had third person mode. I forgot which one it was. But in that realm, if you look at the battle royales as is, a majority of them have the option of either complete third person mode, or scoping in first person. So I don't know how a Call of Duty fits in that realm per se.
Yeah. That article you posted said that they were tapping into Raven's resources for the battle royale mode.
Yeah. So it just feels like it'd almost be a completely different game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how they're going to approach this, but it shouts greed, and we all know how Activision rolls when it comes to money. So it shouldn't be surprising to anybody, at the least. On the topic of battle royales, we'll just get this out there real quick. Fortnite is going to have a double XP weekend, and they're going to be introducing LMGs in the 50/50 update. They're going to have that game mode again. I play Fortnite a lot. I tend to play that game more than PUBG now, just because it runs better. PUBG hurts my eyes and makes me want to throw my controller at the screen. But what do you guys think of this update? Me and my friend had a discussion. Is it possible that Epic Games is almost updating the game too much? They're putting out a lot of content, a lot of weapons, adding weapons to the game. Sometimes that can affect the way the game plays. They had the guided rockets. They ended up having to take those out. What do you think of the LMG update? Or do you play the game? Are you excited for it? Anybody can jump in.
Well, it seems like an LMG would be sort of like an OP weapon in that game mode. Like, you get an LMG, you don't got to reload. You just spray and pray.
You got to combat them stupid shotguns somehow in that game. Seriously, good Lord.
Dude. Like, if you don't play Fortnite, it's shotgun, dude. That's it. There's a pump shotgun and there's another type shotgun, and you can use both of them if you wanted to. And they rush you with shotguns, and I'm hoping that this LMG combats that gameplay. Changes it up a little bit, because that is the way the game is played. Who else plays Fortnite? Anybody?
You know.
What do you think, man?
Well,
I don't think there's no.
My buddy said one of the new meta for that, if you will, is like taking one of those single shot shotguns, shooting it, switching weapons to another single shot shotgun, and shooting it. And by the time, that's really fucked up. They need to fix that.
I don't think there's a such thing as adding too much content, because we always complain there's not enough content in games, and then here's a game that puts in content weekly and people want to complain about it. Yeah, sometimes they'll break the game, but they've shown that they see the result and they remove it as soon as possible. So I don't think that's a bad trend for them. And I think the reason why Fortnite is having so much success is because they're doing that. Unlike its competitor PUBG, they're not really doing too many things with PUBG here and there. Yeah, they have a bit of ideas, but it's not constant like Fortnite is. And that's why I think Fortnite's starting to get the upper hand, because of the regular content. It's already a free-to-play game, but there's constant things to do, and I think that Rare could learn something with Sea of Thieves by doing the exact same thing. Constantly have something added to that, but that's a different subject. So there you go.
Awesome. Anybody else want to input here? I know you guys don't play the game, but it is very popular right now. If not, we'll move on. Star Wars Battlefront 2 received an update, and I really want to talk about this because I played it. It's Ewoks versus Stormtroopers. It's called Night on Endor. This shit is crazy. Let me tell you, dude. If you have Battlefront 2, I haven't played the game in a while, and I hop back in. This shit is crazy. You can play as a little Ewok. So basically, the way the game works is it's like Infection on COD. So you have everybody start off as stormtroopers for the most part, and then one person's randomly selected to be an Ewok, and the Ewok has different abilities. It has a little trumpet thing. It's like, and you can get a buff. You have different. You can throw like a thing that burns the stormtroopers. But long story short, is it's just like Infection where all the Ewoks try to kill all the stormtroopers, and the stormtroopers only have like a flashlight that is on a timer, and it has this like real weird eerie element to it. It's surprising with little bears running around, but it's really fun. Honestly, I think it's the best iteration of this game mode. I know COD had Infection. I forgot what Halo's form of it's called. If chat, you could. Do you guys know what it's called? Halo's version of it. You have the light swords and everything else. But anyway, it's a cool update. I recommend it for anybody that has Battlefront 2. It's a really cool game mode. Anybody else try it or got to look at it? Anybody?
No.
I haven't tried it yet, but I need to. And I probably will try it tonight. But I haven't tried it. But I thought it was interesting. Honestly,
I was hoping.
I'm down. I'm down for trying the 50v50 tonight for anyone in this podcast or on the chat. Whoever's down, I'm down.
He's like, screw Battlefront 2. I'm talking about Fortnite still. What were you saying? Fonz?
I was hoping that game would crash and burn.
Oh, God. Okay.
but it hasn't yet, which is really. I was with you, bro. Like at the beginning, I'm like, this game crash and burn, but it hasn't yet. And they revamped the game the way it should have been from the beginning.
And they brought the microtransactions back, though.
The reason why I wished it would is because it's EA. They can afford to have this one crash and burn. But I definitely want to see the Star Wars franchise taken from EA big time.
Anybody on this panel agrees with you with that statement 100%. Nobody's going to disagree with
I don't think anyone in the world who has any clue.
Y'all can just bank on Anthem being good and then see what happens.
Well,
it sure seems like
it's good, man. I'm hoping it's good.
It sure seems like they were like a bad little kid and they got their butt whipping and now they're ready to be good again. That's what it seems like.
All right, well, we're about the Star Wars talk, so let's move on, guys.
Yeah, let's move on to the next topic. So there's an article by Gaming Bolt that says that the person that wrote this, he thinks that we're not going to have any more next gen consoles. We're going to go into iterative consoles with the PS4 Pro and then the Xbox One X. He said specifically how well the Xbox One X is doing sales wise. The cat's out of the bag, and it's going to be very hard to put it back in there. Simply stated, he thinks that Microsoft and Sony are going to continue this route, and they're going to go with iterative consoles instead of next gen consoles. What do you guys think? Like, do you think that this is going to happen, or do you think we're going to go full blown next gen console, PS5 and Xbox, whatever it's going to be called? What do you guys think?
Yeah. It makes sense. It's gonna be sort of both in a way.
Yeah,
I can definitely. It'll be PS5. It'll be Xbox, whatever they call it. Because I hope it's not Xbox 2. Come on, let's be real.
Xbox. Yeah, that's an awful name. Right?
720.
But I really do think it's going to be kind of the look. They're using the x86 architecture now. They're using basically PC architecture. So anytime it gets cheaper, these parts get cheaper. And they're making better parts in the future. These consoles are going to evolve and they're going to keep getting better and better. Because I think the demand, people now, gamers now, and just any technology enthusiast now is they're hip to the idea that, hey, when new stuff comes out, they want it. They want that new tech. And I know I'm like that. And I see millions of other people buying new phones every year and buying, all kinds of stuff that comes out within technology. They're always upgrading their PCs. So I can definitely see this happening, becoming a thing. And just look at the numbers. I mean, people still bought, the Slims and the S's and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a thing. I think this is going forward. They're going to keep doing this sort of thing. And I don't have a problem with it personally. I don't.
Yeah, what makes it difficult, honestly, is the forwards and backwards compatibility. When you start having that, like one of the main, reasons that I decided to upgrade to an Xbox One, or the people that just decided to, buy a PlayStation 4 is because they're going to get a next gen experience. You had to leave behind your controller. You're gonna, you get a huge upgrade, or semi huge upgrade when it comes to power. You're experiencing a next gen experience. But when we have these mid gen refreshes, it blurs the line a little bit, right?
Well,
I have my Xbox One X, and it's extremely powerful, right?
Somebody said it in the chat, and Brewhu X said, he said that I hope it's a next gen console, because you might as well get a PC at that point. I kind of get that, but at the same time, these are consoles, and I prefer consoles. Guys, you can say what you will about PCs, and I'm fine with PC gaming, but with PC gaming, you've got so many different variables, so many different pieces and parts that you can put together from so many different manufacturers that sometimes things just don't get along. And people that try to say this doesn't happen, they're ignorant, okay? Because it does happen. And with a console, you get the same parts, the same manufacturer every time. So basically, when they put a console together, it's just more tried and true. It's more, it's going to work more times than, in my opinion, from my experience anyway. When I fire up my consoles, they just work. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes with PCs, you might run into some issues, and I'm not down for that. Like, for me, PCs it's just not for me, and a lot of other console gamers out there. So I don't like that statement saying, well, you might as well just get a PC. For $500, I can get a console that just works. Give it to me. That's where I want to play my game.
I totally agree. And you know what? And I've said this before, and with these iterative upgrades, mid-gen upgrades, it's getting closer to, and I've said it before, when
I know where you're going with
the
this.
first console,
I know where you're going with
first
this.
console that comes out with just plug and play parts, like fucking, I have this, GPU in it, just pull the fucker up right out, put a fucking new one in, made by Xbox, fucking not all these other companies, not with any, and keep it the same architecture, like what Fawn said. So that, you can't get all the hackers or whatever, at least you cut most of that out. The first company to do that will dominate for a while until the others catch up.
Yep.
Did they have the Steam box? What happened to that?
Oh, God.
Yeah, but nobody cared about that. Come on, man. That. Everybody was like, Steam box, what's this? No, but I agree with Drago. If one of those two companies is the first to do that, I'm 100% on board with that. Because I was saying that last year, and I remember we were talking about in the podcast saying eventually they're gonna go that direction. I don't mind them going that direction. I also agree with Fonz. It's gonna be both. I think they'll release their next console, and then after that, it'll start being iterations of that console. I think we're at the end of our console cycle, and then as soon as the PS5 and whatever the next Xbox comes out, then we'll start getting iterations, and hopefully, maybe Drago's idea is right. Maybe we can just start doing that.
Tell you what, put me and Fonz's brains together. You got one smart motherfucker.
Just saying.
What Bruce is saying now, he said, but MS is now closing the gap by forcing crossplay with PC and stuff. Look, but you still have that closed architecture of a console. You still have. I prefer, that console experience myself. For to allow PC players to come over and play with us, that's fine. But always make it an option. Damn it! Don't force it to where it's always on. Because I don't want to play with PC guys, because at the end of the day, they cheat. They cheat. A lot of them. Cheat.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing that in Sea of Thieves, right? I mean,
they cheat in the worst way.
Massive cheaters on Sea of Thieves, and that's a huge problem. They need to give us the option, man. But I'm trying to find Lord Kaibatsu's his message here. Let me find it. He had a really good take. He's just talking about iterations and stuff like that, and I think the line is blurred, honestly. He said just do iterations. It's not like the old days where each system had its own programming language. We're also at the point where there's not much difference other than 4K FPS. So I wanted to touch upon this because I was asked the question. It's like, well, if the Xbox 2 comes out, are you going to upgrade? And I came out and specifically said, well, they need to give me a reason to upgrade. They need to show me that it's next gen. Because like I said, I have the Xbox One X, the most powerful console ever. And that's it. What did they advertise with the Xbox One X? They advertised 4K gaming. Like, what are they going to advertise? Frame rate? Like, I feel like that doesn't get across to the casual gamer. Like FPS is kind of a weird thing. when it comes to casuals, they don't understand. Like they don't understand like why they need to have 60 frames a second as opposed to 30, and they might not even know what the fuck it is. Honestly, the reason why they know about resolution is because they can go out and buy a 4K TV, right? I have a 4K TV. This is a 4K console. It's easy to understand, but then you introduce FPS, and it's like, well, what is the motivation for all these people to jump to the next consoles? Do you understand what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
And then they also say like hertz, 60 hertz, 60 frames a second, and that confuses a lot of people too.
It's a hard sell. And I don't mean once they've played it and experienced it. I mean before they've experienced it. How do you explain this to people, you know, or a retailer, you know, explain that to people? Look, you're going to need 60 frames because it's just smoother and stuff. Like they really won't get it. Like they're used to the cinematic experience that we get on console, you know? And I hate using that term because it's such a cop out, but that's basically what we get at 30 frames per second. And I think that the one thing I want to see more of in the future, though, is, you know, if developers don't necessarily want to build their game around, say, higher frames, give us an option, though. If the hardware is capable, give us that option, because some of us love to play at, you know, 60 frames or above. You put in a game like Gears of War, guys, if you're not used to playing 60 frames games like that, put in a game like that on the X, and, you know, switch it from the 4K. If you're playing in 4K mode all the time, switch it to 60 and just feel the difference. I had my 12-year-old, he was playing the game, and I had it in the 60 frames mode, and he was playing, and he's all, yeah, this is cool, you know, he was having fun. And then I said, wait a minute, and I paused it, and I switched it. I went out of the game, and I switched to the 4K mode, and I gave him the controller. He played the same scene over again, and he was like, what's wrong? Why is it lagging? And I said, it's not lagging. I said, that's the frame difference. And he goes, wow, put it back. Like my 12-year-old can feel it. So any grown man out here saying, you know, we don't want 60 frames, you know, I don't care for it, it's not a big deal. Man, if my 12-year-old can feel a difference, there's a big difference, man.
Yeah, I mean, but imagine being the marketing team for these companies, right? All right, next gen console, buy it. Frame rate's better. You know, like how do you sell this shit? I don't know, man. I mean, if you if you have
4K, bro, you're gonna have 4K 60 in the next consoles. I mean,
yeah, but
the GPUs are already capable of that 4K. We see in the Far Cry 5 now, man. It's
all right. Well, here's the thing: the games are getting more and more complex. More and more stuff is happening on the screen, and it's just gonna increase, you know. And that's why, you know, it's kind of like a battle between the developers of games and the hardware, you know, because once developers have a certain level of hardware, you know, they want to surpass, they want to do more, which is good, right? It constantly pushes each one to do better, right, and one up the other, so on and so forth. But
I think it's really down to the Jaguar CPU that we've got now. That's really the bottleneck that we're going to get rid of in the next gen consoles. You know, using that new architecture that we're going to get, the new CPUs. There's no reason they couldn't hit a 60 frame target in any game, really.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's the other thing, though. All right, if it doesn't hit 60 frames, at least it hits it most of the time. You know, a little dip is not bad. You hardly notice like say a 5 to 10 frame drop. You know, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, they're always going to give us those options, and we're getting more and more settings now with these games, and I'm all down for these settings and stuff. I know Xbot, if he's still on the chat, I know he talked against it in the past, you know, about opening Pandora's box if you want to start tinkering with all these settings. No, you know, I don't think it'll ever get like the PC where, you know, like the PC, Lord Kaibatsu was talking about it when he was a PC guy, just messing around with each and every little setting before you started a game just annoyed him. And that was annoying. I remember that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, let me ask you this, Fonz. So say, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Bloody, what were you gonna say?
I was saying when Drago brought it up earlier about the noticeable, or the not really noticeable when the frames dip, you know, 5 or 10 from like 60 to 55 and all that. But I was like, but wouldn't you rather have a steady 60 overall? Like, well, having the 4K is great. Once you have that steady frame rate of all time and just do what some are doing and have that dynamic resolution where they'll dip on the resolution to keep the frame rate stable.
Yeah.
That'd be more preferable.
Well, that's
'cause-
going to happen naturally, just depending on what's going on screen.
But I agree with what Fonz was saying. You know, with the hardware we have now, you know, 4K 60 is going to be the standard going forward. You know, we slowly switched over from 4K 30 on some games to some are trying to push 60 with native 4K, as well as, you know, upwards of 3.5K to have that 1800 to be able to support 60 frames. A lot of games are switching over to full 60 frames. So the next step is going to be a stable 4K 60 all the way around.
I think you're going to hear a lot less developers saying cinematic experience.
Cinematic, Bungie, cinematic.
Cinematic experience.
Lunch Bizzle with a $5 super chat. Salt and vinegar. There's lots of vinegar in the chat for some reason. Vinegar chips are one of my favorite chips.
Vinegar.
So,
They're awesome.
Nasty.
I'm right there with you. Just gross.
So I don't know. Getting back to the discussion, I personally, if you're trying to sell me on a next gen console with an Xbox One X, it's going to be hard sell unless you can say, hey, we're hitting 60 on most titles, which will probably happen. But then it's just, I don't know, man. I think the average consumer, it's going to be a hard sell. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go about it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an they stick with the iterations, especially Xbox. Yeah.
Especially if you think about today's, tech scene, is a lot of people are used to tech, with phones and everything on buying these iterative. Now the thing is that they need to support and have that kind of transitionary way to to put towards your old device being used towards the new one and make it worth upgrading, because even with phones, even though people are upgrading every year, buying a brand new $1,000 device, there are some people who are holding out 2 years, 3 years, waiting for those iterations and to be massive gaps. If you look at some of the stuff from like iPhones and even some of the Galaxies from Samsung, some of them were small steps before they made big jumps. Look at the Galaxy S4 to the Galaxy S6 from Samsung, and now the 6 to the 8. Those are big leaps, especially if you look at the 9. But from the 8 to 9, there wasn't a massive change, just like from the iPhone 5 to 6 and then the 6 to 7. There's not any massive change. They have to have a sort of worthwhile upgrade to make these iterative consoles, if this is what they're going to do, actually worthwhile to invest in, instead of if they're not going to do traditional console cycles anymore.
Well, it comes down to this. The companies that do this sort of thing, let's say just one does it, I think it would be very, very pro-consumer for them to do it, because if you think about it, like with the Xbox One X, you don't need to have the Xbox One X. You can play all the games on the Xbox One S or the Xbox One Fat, and you're fine. Is it going to play as good? No. But if you look around at the, on the toxic web, you'll see a lot of people getting salty about iterative consoles. But if you really look into what they're saying, they're just jealous, because they want to have that. If you want it, just buy it or save up and buy it. They're not forcing you to buy it. You can still play the games. It's just
but that went way past what I was saying. Is that I agree with where you're coming from on that. Is that if people want it, they're gonna get it. But what I'm saying is that as you stated right there, is that your games will still work on the OG Fatty X, or Xbox or the One S. But the thing is, when they came out with the One X, they made it a worthwhile iterative change up from what we had on the One S, which was to help improve over the OG X.
I don't think that's going to be an issue, dude. I don't think they're going to put out a product that's just barely better than the base.
Yeah, and that's where it all comes down to. Is that's what I was trying to say, is that the iterations, if they do it, is that each one has to be worthwhile, or people aren't going to change over.
Yeah, it's weird to me when people are saying that it's not a smart model to follow when it comes to cell phones. Why not? People are upgrading their shit when it comes to cell phones like every year, man. I mean, people have showed that they're going to put $1,000 into a shitty iPhone. No offense to all those iPhone users out there.
Hater.
Hey,
but they've shown, right? They've shown that they're going to drop a cool $1,000 on a phone. Why not a console?
Look,
know?
there's plenty of people who bought that iPhone 10, which was almost what, $1,500.
Exactly.
That's
I mean, I
three
didn't
times
buy
the cost of a console, and you're telling me that you'll spend $1,000 one year, then $1,500 the next on a phone, but you aren't going to spend more than $500 on a console maybe once every 3 to 4 years? Get the hell out of here.
Damn.
Well, it's all about that monthly payment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think in order to close the gap there, they would have to have some sort of trade-in policy. And I don't know how that would work out. Like you'd have to go through the companies themselves. Because you know how like if you have a cell phone, you can sometimes trade it in and get credit or whatever towards the next cell phone. Maybe they could do that with consoles. I'm just spitballing here, but
Forget the trade-in
and
policy.
that's what
Let's just
I'm
upgrade our
saying.
consoles like Drago said.
Look at what they offered with some of the third parties, especially like the One S going towards being traded to the One X. Like if they have something like that, but it's going directly to them or one of their trusted third parties, like that would help to alleviate the cost and make that iteration.
Let's talk about Christina's.
It's already being done with anything you buy, because unless you have horrible credit, people do this with credit cards all the time. So it's not a big deal.
So Christina said something interesting. Most people upgrading their cell phones have it subsidized, which is true. You know, like there's payment options and stuff like that.
Monthly payment.
Same thing with the credit card, though. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Ooh. So it's not too. I just think the technology at this point is getting to a point where it's improving so fast, and the technology it's hard to keep up with, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper to get this shit out. You just look no further to the phones. Like these phones are capable of playing games that are almost similar to our consoles, right? Except for the controls or whatever. There's, it's just a small gap that's in between the two. People are willing to upgrade almost yearly, and buy 2 years, every 2 years, and they have these cell phones in their pockets. They can drop them on the fucking ground and crack the screen. So you can't tell me that consumers, if you don't show them, if you do show them the value of the tech, that they wouldn't want to do the same thing. So it's up to you guys whether or not you feel like this is a good thing or a bad thing, because I think it's 50-50. A lot of people want to continue generations. They feel like it moves gaming forward.
Well,
and whatever,
generations, but you're going to have that mid-gen sort of refresh thing, I think, going forward.
So anyway, we beat that into the ground like we like to, but there's a rumor, and I'm going to put a note out here because I tweeted about this, and I feel like this leak for E3 is honestly complete bullshit, dude. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
Okay, so I've seen some people.
Like obvious.
Yeah. I'm gonna read this list off to you, and it just screams bullshit to me, man. So Xbox E3 2018. It was leaked out, so they're gonna have Forza Horizon 4. We already know that. Japan setting, some Starfield game. It's gonna have a marketing deal, gameplay demo. Scream Ride 2.
No.
Crackdown 3. They're gonna talk about that shit again.
No.
What the fuck? Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a marketing deal. I think they've already come out and said that they were gonna do like timed exclusives or whatever. Sea of Thieves, new content, Ashen, stuff they've already talked about. The Last Night trailer, Below, Madden, a marketing deal, Minecraft. Talk about Minecraft again, dude. Battlefield 5, Metro Exodus, Banjo-Kazooie Anniversary. That would be.
Let's just name every fucking game there is.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So the interesting things, I guess, if you can call them interesting, they have the Borderlands 3 marketing deal, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, a Splinter Cell game, would be interesting.
Starfield.
The main thing that stood out to me in this thing, even though it's fake as fuck, Halo Genesis, a reboot. It's going to be split screen, new engine, Warzone 2.0, multiplayer beta, blah, blah, blah. So basically what they would say is they're going to just trash the story in Halo and reboot the shit, which arguably would be a good idea or a bad idea who you're talking to. Cyberpunk 2077, a marketing deal, and then Joanna Dark is what they would call the rumored title, and it would be a third person action game. So let's talk about this bullshit.
Well,
that's what it is.
Starfield.
I put this out in our group chat earlier this morning when I saw it, and I was like, if this is true, this is the crappiest show ever, because all those marketing deal things, well, those games are still coming to the PS4. So
Yeah.
99% of these games are going to the PS4, it seems. And to show all this stuff off at your E3 just seems kind of lackluster to me. Yeah, sure. I want to see what Starfield looks like. That's the Bethesda game, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
Bethesda
yeah.
game that's supposed to be like.
So I want to see what that looks like.
Base.
Splinter Cell. That's the one game on here that I'm that and Starfield. Okay, those two are the two games that I'm really excited for.
Yep.
But aside from that, the rest of the list, I'm like, really? You're going to show Scream Ride 2 at your E3? Are you really going to show? How many years have we shown Crackdown now at E3?
Yeah.
This is why I think it's bullshit, because
it's complete bullshit.
Honestly,
bullshit.
Are they gonna show Call of Duty?
So I mean, typical Madden review. Yes, I agree that's going to happen. But the only one I wish is true is that they get the exclusive marketing rights to Starfield, because I think Starfield's going to be a freaking home run with coming from Bethesda, dude. Like that game is going to be legit, and I've been keeping my eye out on that. And there's been rumors that they're going to reveal it this year. If they reveal it, and then Xbox gets the exclusive rights like they did to Anthem, I mean, good on them. That's what I hope is true.
There's four developers that companies that I love, and that would be Rockstar, Naughty Dog, and Bethesda's one, and BioWare's one.
Amen.
Okay.
And plug in my heartstrings.
Anytime they put something out, I definitely look. And I'm hoping that Starfield's a home run, man. I really am.
You and me both, dude.
So I'm looking forward to it. But here's what I want to say about this, right? With this list, we all know and say that's bullshit. And here's the reasons why. These are things that have been talked about and rumored for months. It's easy to leak information that's already known than it is to leak stuff that isn't unknown. Some of these games are expected. I mean, if they want to do a Banjo-Kazooie anniversary or a remake, whatever, they can do that at any point. Scream Ride 2, we all have our feelings on that. But, Perfect Dark, Joanna Dark, we've known that there's been rumors about Perfect Dark for a while.
That's true,
a new Halo game next year. I'm not surprised. It's about that time. I mean, everything that was on this list is stuff that we know is coming. That it's already deals that have been confirmed that they're getting. I mean, we've already heard about the Splinter Cell marketing rights. We know they have the marketing rights for Anthem. We know they have the marketing rights for Metro Exodus. These are games that are known about. Like anything on this list that people are looking at, it's all stuff that's been known. Nothing is, and that's the thing that's the big point is that this is all stuff that we know is going to be at E3.
Yeah,
it's about the stuff that isn't on this list.
Yeah, show me a game on this list that wasn't in here. Like it's like out of the blue and it's some brand new IP that wasn't talked about.
Yeah, besides Starfield, everything else has already been known.
And that Halo Genesis bullcrap.
Well, here's the thing about the Halo Genesis, man. I've heard from some people that it is definitely Halo 6. It's not some reboot. So
it'd be like, I heard this, I forgot who said it, but it'd be like, Star Wars Episode 8 was so shitty, so Star Wars just says, fuck it, we're not making a 9, and we're rebooting all the movies, right? This doesn't make any sense by any means. And bloody, you hit the nail on the head, man. This is like both of those releases, those leaks smashed together, because we got a first leak with some games on it, and then another leak was about the marketing rights, and it's like they smashed both of those together and then kind of put some like given things in there. That's what stood out to me when I woke up and then I saw the chat like that Fonz posted this. I was like, what is this shit? Is this a joke, dude?
Look, I'm looking at it right now, and there's a new leak. It said that the new Halo game is going to have you play as Cortana, guys.
Oh God, yeah.
Man. What I heard?
What am I gonna be doing? Going through the confines?
He's joking. He's joking.
Oh my God, dude.
He's joking.
I know.
I heard it in the mode that we actually play as the Flood.
Oh,
fuck out of here. So who else? Punk, what do you think of these rumors, man?
Well, first off, who the hell is what the hell is his name? Rishi Awani. I will never read another one of his articles again for the most part. And on top of that, if this was true and I bought my E3 ticket, I would hope I could get a refund fucking ASAP. Because you already know.
Awani? Who the hell is that? Who has that name?
Terrible news, dude. Yeah. What do we not know? We already know about the marketing deals. We need new IPs. and just something exciting. I'm with
Okay.
Fonz. You know, the only thing that excites me is Splinter Cell on this entire list, and maybe Borderlands 3, but that's just because I'm excited for the game itself.
Yeah,
I
you know
mean,
what?
there's for me,
I
I'm
love-
excited for quite a
Good.
few things on there. Like but again, everyone has different tastes. I have more on
Right.
there that I'm excited for. Like I loved Ori and the Blind Forest, so Will the Wisp has me excited. I
Yeah.
love the Borderlands, so I'm excited for that, and
But-
of course Anthem. But you know, I understand where everyone may have their disappointments that this is all that's going to be at E3. I doubt that's all that's going to be there, because if it is, then they're completely shooting themselves in the foot, which we know that they're not
Yeah.
in the position to do.
Yeah.
And I think from the conversations that they've been having, this isn't going to be all that's there, because if it is, it's not pretty.
bad.
They know better. They
This
at
is-
this
this-
point they learn better.
If this list is true, they haven't learned anything.
Yeah.
And I don't believe it's true, because if you look at the list, we've seen all these at last E3. I mean, a lot of these games anyway. We've seen it. Why are they going to replay, some of these games that we've already seen bits and pieces of from last E3? Oh, just a new trailer or an updated trailer on some. Man, like I'm cool with Ori and stuff, but damn it, they better show me a big new AAA IP that's exclusive. And I'm not talking about timed exclusive to the Xbox. I want something brand new showing me, wowing me there at E3. Okay.
And not Crackdown 3. Don't
Oh,
put Terry Cruz's face on a video, please. Just let me know when it's coming out and then skate on by. I don't need to see Crackdown 3 again for the 30th time.
Even if it's exclusive, it'll still say on PC, and then we're going to get shit on for it still saying that it's on PC also.
So I heard this question. I think it was on Crap's show yesterday. He said, "What does Xbox have to do at E3 for you guys to be happy? And if they don't do it, are you going to hop off the Xbox ship per se? Like, what do they have to do for you guys? We'll start with Fonz, man.
They
What
got
has
to,
to-
like I said, they got to show me a big new AAA IP. Just show me one, something that's brand new, innovative, something that is really going to make people say, this is why I'm buying the next Xbox. Because let's face it, if they show something like that, it's probably going to be on the next Xbox.
Yeah.
But I want people to get hype for the brand. I really do. And I think look, I'm hyped for Splinter Cell. I'm hyped for Starfield, but those games are going to the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem there. If Splinter Cell is exclusive, that's huge.
But hang on, I want to bring
that might hold me over, and I'm not leaving the brand. I mean,
So if
come
they
on.
have a shitty E3, you're not going to jump off like a
No,
lot of
I'm
these
a
people.
gamer. Will I talk shit about the show? Probably. But am I going to leave the brand? No, because I'm a gamer. I love to play all the games no matter what. And again, there are games that are coming to the console that are exclusive. State of Decay 2, Ori 2. These types of games I love. So I'm not going to leave the brand and say, fuck you, Xbox. I'm never going to. But I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be upset if they don't. If this is real, I'll be upset about it.
Worse. So Nick, I'll pose the question to you. What
sir.
does Microsoft need to do at E3 to make you happy? And are you going to jump ship to PlayStation if they don't do it?
I don't know about that jumping ship to PlayStation thing, but no, man, like Fawn said, just give me some glimmer of hope that there is hope in the future, some sort of IP. We already know, we've already discussed this on the podcast, that we're toward the end of the cycle. It seems like they're just sort of holding it together for a little bit until they come out with the next gen, have more ideas. So just give me some sort of glimmer of hope. And that's all I really need at this point. I would love to see you just show me Fable. I know that's an old IP, but if you could just show me Fable, or just, it doesn't even have to be gameplay. Just show me that, hey, we're working on it, because we know that that's a rumor, but just show me that you're working on it. And then other than that, that's it. Just give me some sort of glimmer of hope. But I'm not asking for too much at this point, because I'm in agreement with you that you've said that we're toward the end of the cycle. So yeah, I'm not really hoping for much or asking for much at this point.
Okay. So you're not gonna like sell your Xbox if it doesn't go your way? Okay.
No, bro, nah, dude. I'm way past that, dude. I'm not a child. Get out of here.
Surprising, man, because there's a lot of people on social media, man, that are.
Yeah,
are
I
that
see those
way,
people, man, but it's just like whatever, dude. It's games, like whatever.
Tight.
It's interesting because you don't own a PS4, right, Nick?
No, I don't own a PS4 yet.
Yeah, see that. And that's interesting that you said you still wouldn't buy one if this was true. That part is a little odd to me, but okay, Each their own.
He's calling you out, man. Titan, what does Microsoft have to do this E3? Like I said, and are you going to sell your Xbox if they don't meet your demands?
Am I gonna sell my Xbox? Come on, man. Now, I don't understand all the negativity. I mean, we have the strongest console in the market right now. Am I right? I mean, the Xbox One X. Like, come on, people. It's the strongest console for the best deal. You can't match it. We got State of Decay 2 coming out. Like, everything's looking good. Everything's going on the up and up. Like, Phil Spencer's promoted. Like, everything's so good for Xbox right now. And ponies are so mad that they're just shitting on everything they fucking hear about Xbox. And that's what I don't get, is why Xbox fans are like almost buying into the just the absolute bullshit that people are just saying about the system when it's like it's pro-consumer, people. It's everything is good. Like, trust in Phil Spencer, man. This guy knows what he's doing. He's picked it up. He's picked Xbox up off the floor, and we're gonna go flying.
Oh God, sounds like you're on that Xbox Kool-Aid.
Damn right.
Awesome. It's good to hear that, man. Punk. So you got Xbox. You're like, hey, if you don't meet my demands, I'm switching completely. What do they have to do?
Dude, we're all screaming the same thing, Yes, we all want the new IPs, but to leave Xbox, dude, like, okay, so I bought an Xbox like a year after it came out, the original, but like since 05 and like jumping online and the memories I've made and the friends that I've made, like that, and that's a lot of dedication and time that I've put into this thing. There's no way I could just jump ship and leave this damn brand. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, for someone who's coming into it, maybe a younger person, or they're trying to make a decision on what they're going to buy coming up. Yeah, if they're watching E3 and maybe want to make a purchase after that, yeah, you'd have to show them something. But the people that have been here forever, I mean, how many shit years have you already been through? We're still here. We're not going anywhere, I mean, and like Titan was saying, dude, Phil has picked everything up off the floor. It's ridiculous. Everything that he's done, people like, even if you didn't like the TV stuff, I mean, it was still an option, man. I'm all in for Phil Spencer, dude. I love Xbox. I play with you guys. I mean, not much lately. I've been fucking busy, and you guys on the West Coast, but man, this is where all my friends are. I will never leave this console.
Okay. I gotta say something real quick though.
Okay.
When did Sea of Thieves start getting created for Microsoft? When did they start production?
Like 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I thought they showed it like 2013, 2014 E3.
Crackdown 3, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now people are talking about how Phil Spencer's dropped the ball and how Phil Spencer's not doing anything right. Well, look, he came out with the Xbox One S that started the turnaround of this company. They sold a lot of them. The Xbox One X came out, and it's a success, regardless of what you say about, oh, you don't think it's selling or whatnot. Look, Salty and I think it's selling very well. We think it's doing well.
Yep.
And that's based on the numbers as a whole of what they're selling this year. In 2018, they're at number 2 in quite a couple of MPDs.
Yeah.
All right. So you take a game, like people are always saying, well, Sony, they had created their slim model, they had created their Pro, but they also created some fantastic first party IPs, which is totally true. But here's the thing, guys. Microsoft was creating exclusive IPs as well. The bad thing is they were kind of dog shit, some of them. I mean, arguably. And that's the problem. They had all the money invested already. We're making these IPs already. When Phil Spencer took over, those are just being played out now. We've got Sea of Thieves and we got Crackdown 3 supposedly coming. Those were the missteps, in my opinion. The types of games, the execution of these games, those were the missteps. I think that's the problem here. We're comparing these games to games that are coming out on the PlayStation now with God of War and stuff, and they're just not up to snuff. And that is the issue. But do I think that Phil Spencer himself sees the issue and he's going to turn that around and try and make more mature games, try and make these games that appeal to more of the masses? Yes, I do. I have no reason to believe them.
I gotta shout out Ryan Landis. Man, you got me dying over here. Maybe some of you Xbox guys should be marriage counselors. You are dedicated. Okay, man, that's crazy, man. Yeah, Xbox is going through some hard times, man. But we're dedicated, you know. We're sticking with it, you know.
But
Here's the thing.
do you see what I'm saying? Is
I see it.
they did have first party IPs in the works. They just weren't that good. Okay.
Nope.
Thing is, you can't compare Sea of Thieves to God of War. God of War has been around for so long; it's like their bread and butter. Sea of Thieves is just like basically like a test run kind of thing. Just let's see how this fucking works.
But there was a lot of missteps, and they started before Phil Spencer. That's what I'm.
That's what I'm going to say. Like
exactly.
It was before him, and now they're actually starting to. He's already said he's making steps to make first party games. He's still cleaning up that mess from the OG Xbox One, dude.
And here's why I always say I don't have any reason to doubt Phil Spencer. Okay, not because of anything he said in any interviews, but when I've talked to him personally, personally talked to him over party chat. I picked his brain. I found out what kind of games this guy likes. This dude is a gamer through and through. He knows games, okay? He likes a lot of great games that I like and many other people like. He's not an idiot, guys, when it comes to
Fawn's name dropping Phil. There's a couple things you can count on. Fonts to name drop Phil. When I was in a party with Phil Spencer,
hey, if you ask Dealer, if you ask all those guys, I'm the guy asking him and picking his brain and stuff because I want to find out what this guy's all about. And I'm telling you, he's a gamer, guys. This guy knows. He's got his finger right on the pulse of gaming.
He is. I wouldn't know because he doesn't accept my party invites, Phil. Come on, man. Come on.
It's crazy the difference between Phil Spencer and Don Matrick. It's absolute. It's a complete 180. How you can just tell immediately the difference between those two.
So let's talk about Phil Spencer real quick. It's in the title of this podcast. So Ryan McCaffrey, I don't know if you guys know who that dude is, but he has me blocked. He put this statement out on Twitter. He said Xbox fans are dying in capital letters to celebrate a masterpiece level exclusive like God of War. The IGN editor wrote, thing is, though, it took Sony 10 years to get to this point where their first party is firing on all cylinders, kind of like what Fawn said. This work started in the PS3 era. Xbox can/might get there, but it's going to take a long time. Phil Spencer responded on Twitter, and he said, our hardware took time, our service platform /backwards compatibility took time, and continue to grow our first party will take time. The head of Xbox commented, a high quality and diverse first party, I guess is what he's saying. Yes, with single player built the right way is our goal and what our customers deserve. We can have similar results to what we've seen in hardware and platform. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. Basically is what he's saying is it's going to take time, you know. So they're working on this shit, but it's going to take time.
Along with what ACS 100 said in your chat. He was addressing me, but he said if Phil is trying to change now, it will be the next generation by the time these games come out. Yes, that's what we're saying. That's exactly what we're saying. We're saying all these games that were being built or started to be built before he took over are coming out now. But the games he invested $1 billion into just about a year ago, that's going to take time. And we're going to see it on the next consoles. And that's what I'm saying. At this E3, show them. I don't care if it's not even a trailer. Show us something. Show us some not fan art, but some graphic art.
Fan art.
Something. To get us hyped for a new game. And I really believe that they are creating new stuff now. I do.
So the funny thing is, Cyrus Burke said, like we discussed, that prick doesn't speak for us. I mean, I said it in my video. He blocks almost everybody if you say anything against what he's saying. So I can't really see any of his tweets. He acts like he speaks for Xbox. In reality, if you took a poll of a lot of Xbox people, they don't give a fuck what he says. I don't have anything against the man, but it is what it is, right? He says a lot. He's in the media. He's at IGN. He runs an Xbox podcast, supposedly the #1 podcast. Bullshit on the internet, you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Like, he wrote this statement saying, pretty much acting like he represents Xbox when a majority of people aren't dying for a game like God of War. They want good games, right? They want high quality games and stuff like that. And the way he worded it was specifically in a way to trigger people. And I know he did it that way to do that. So Phil Spencer responded in the only way he can. And a lot of people talk shit about Phil Spencer. They call him a damage controller. They say he's kumbaya. They say this and that. But honestly, if you look back to the way the situation was in 2013, if Phil Spencer didn't get hired, this shit would have been in the can, right? It would have been with the Wii U. It was a catastrophic release and a catastrophic launch for this console. I don't think you guys remember. I think a lot of people have short memories. Damn, dude, they released a console that was $100 more expensive with a forced peripheral that was less powerful. Think about that in your brain for a little bit. $100 more for a less powerful console. That's crazy. And they were able to overcome this. A lot of people will refer back to the fact that they had the Xbox One X under development in 2012. So Phil had nothing to do with it. But Phil was an important catalyst in cleaning up a lot of the bullshit, behind the scenes. So when he says that they're working on it and there's other things like $1 billion invested in first party, they're going to get this shit going, man. And I fully believe it. It's just going to take time. So it's up to you whether or not you want to stay with the ship. Right. So what do you guys think, man? Bloody, what's your thoughts?
Like everyone else here, man, I've stood behind Phil Spencer. Like I came in, I played with the OG, right? But I came in during the 360 era. And when I was coming in at the turn of everything, when they announced the PS4 and the OG Xbox One, I saw everything that happened with Don Matrick and all that kind of mess that started the generation. However, I was all on board with a lot of what they did. It's just the way that he planned it out was just horrible. And then when they brought in Phil Spencer, the dude from the first time he came in as the head of Xbox and started talking and telling what his plans are, you could tell that he was passionate about it. That everyone forgets, dude started at the bottom. He was just a coder and a dev working at the studio, then became a head of a team, then the head of a project, then became head of Microsoft Studios, and now is the overhead of Xbox. He knows what it's like. He knows the time that it takes. He knows what they need to do to impress to help improve the brand. He's focused on the things that were completely thrown aside that should have been a part of it from the get-go. His vision is helping everything, and people who are giving him all this shit about everything it's unwarranted. He's come out multiple times. He knows the memes. He knows the narrative. He understands what people's complaints are. If he knows and is seeing that and knows what needs to be done with as big of a gamer as he is, he's not going to turn on deaf ears. He's going to be planning out on what they can do. Agreed that not everything is going to appear this generation. Some of it is going to be going into the next gen. That's the truth of the fact. But the rest of it is they need to have something right now and really start giving. I understand the fear he has from before when they showed things too early and then it's all in the public limelight, and then when something bad happens, everyone turned on him. But at the same time, he does need to kind of give some sort of tease or something to just kind of satiate everyone's curiosity and appetite on what's going to happen. Now, the people who are dedicated fans, who are hardcore and support it, they're going to stay. The people who are making this big deal about everything, they're not fans. They're coattail riders. That's all it is. If you're a gamer, you'd have multi consoles anyways.
Yep.
That's
Preach it.
the fact. But anyone who's complaining saying, "Oh, if they don't do it this year, I'm going to completely walk away," you're telling me that just because of them trying to get something, but they don't have a big year of stuff to announce. Hey, you're going to get rid of a console that you may have had for several years and put hundreds or maybe thousands of dollars into games and content just because of the fact that they do one thing. Really? You're telling me that all that money is really that disposable that you're just gonna throw that away? No. Anyone who has any sort of value is not gonna do that. They could be upset. There's no problems with being upset. You should be upset. But the fact that people are saying that they're gonna sell their console and everything else and just walk away, they're full of it. They're just wanting attention. It's just public children having a fit. That's all it is.
I just put my X up on eBay. You guys can buy it.
Xbox didn't meet his demand. Sorry, selling that shit. Jez Gordon, shout out to him. He basically said on social media, don't let the door hit you on the way out, because all these crybabies on social media. And shout out to Brujo X. He said Don Matrick almost killed the Xbox brand. He came in on the success of Peter Moore and Ballmer setup. That Connect money could have been invested in a stronger Xbox One. That is the fact.
100% fact.
Jack.
100%.
That's
So he invested.
people have to remember is, there's always a lingering effect from the previous people, which is why Donnie D looked like he was in prime position, and it was him making these calls that were making the Xbox brand great, but he was just riding in on that lingering effect from those guys before him. That is the issue. And now Phil Spencer's got that negative lingering effect from Donnie D. It's just it just happens that way, guys.
Yep.
And it's a sad fact because, especially with Peter Moore, Peter Moore and people forget Phil Spencer were the ones who went to Steve Ballmer about the Red Ring of Death, who brought to him the cost of replacing everything and the numbers of what it would do. Those two together is what helped save the Xbox brand during the 360 era. When did Peter Moore leave? I think it was 2009, 2010, and Donnie D came in. He was trying to be cutthroat about everything, and it did not work. He was pressuring too many studios for everything and trying to be aggressive with it when that's not what it was. That's why you saw a lot of ties cut from developers and studios back then.
This is a fun fact. Side note, Fonz left the Xbox brand back in the 360 days when I had 5 Red Rings of Death consoles. 5. And I got sick of it.
A lot of people did, man.
I was lucky to not have one.
Yeah, so I missed about a year or so there off the Xbox.
So shout out to Born Distracted. He said, finally got an X. I'm not worried about their current game situation. I look at the X as an investment to trade. Oh my God. Okay. Trade it for the next generation. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. And on the whole Ryan McCaffrey dude, that dude is like the definition of wishy-washy. If you've seen his conversations on the Unlocked Xbox podcast that they have, I watched it like probably 2 years ago when I was still working at an old job. I was able to watch podcasts on my computer while I was doing office work. And there was a time where he was actually being legitimate about it, him and Marty and a few others. Like the only people who I actually would care for on that podcast was Alana and Destin, because they were the ones who were actually positive. Brian McCaffrey would go on these tirades, him and Marty both, on Bash and Xbox. It's just like, why are you going to talk bad about it when you're running an Xbox show? I was like, I understand being critical, but what you're doing right now is just being vitriolic. You're not doing anything to help the conversation.
Yeah, Alana,
and you're right.
Go ahead.
I'm saying you're right about what he posted on Twitter. It was to stir up the community and start this whole thing, but Phil did come and handle it in a classy way, but he does make a good point. Yes, it will take time to get this new studios up and running the way that they should because of, the closure of Lionhead and a few others. But we've seen that they didn't just get rid of all the talent at those studios. They pulled them in to other studios, to other projects, and they're still there. Right now, we've seen with Microsoft's first-party studios is that they work with a studio for a while, cultivate them, see what they're able to provide before they bring them in. They're not just going to go buy a bunch of unknown studios and say, here's something big, just work on it. No, they're helping them build up first before they do. We saw how they invested in Studio MDHR, and look at how their team went from 3 brothers to a fairly decent-sized small team that worked on Cuphead, and what they're doing now is something new. That's because of the investment that Microsoft put into them. They're investing in studios before they just acquire. They're not just going to go buy every studio that's on the market.
Yeah. Shout out to New. Just show Halo and I will have a boner to the ceiling.
100%.
No, double shout out to New. Xbox isn't going anywhere. You're damn right. Anyone that thinks that Xbox is failing, I'm trying to bring the common back to sense, people. And you just have no common sense if you think Xbox is going under. You're a moron.
Man, give me some. Give me some of what you took before the show.
For real, dude.
He snorted that caffeine.
On that lean.
So anyway, let's talk about the last topic of the night. So there's been news that came out that Microsoft is hiring a guy from the Tomb Raider franchise. I can't find the story. His
Gallagher.
Gallagher, okay.
Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics, and he was working on the Tomb Raider reboot. He saw that through. He worked with Activision for a while. Matt Booty tweeted out the news that he's getting hired for the first party studios when it comes to Xbox. Rumor has it, or just speculation, that this dude is going to be running a new studio for Xbox, a first party studio, and I'd love to see a new first party studio tackling an open world game in the mold of Horizon Zero Dawn. There was rumors that they were hiring developers to make a game in the mold of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think this guy would be perfect to see that through. We're seeing a lot of shuffling when it comes to the hierarchy in Xbox, and I think it's a good thing because the direction of the company was bullshit in the beginning. I think it lacked direction, but with these shuffling and changes, I think they're in the right direction. What do you guys think of this news?
I think the theme remains the same that we've all been saying. It's going to take time, and they're putting their ducks in a row, and they're getting ready to gear up for the future. And we're not going to see a whole lot right now, but we're going to see a whole lot within the next 2 to 3 years of what their plans are. And I mean, that's just been the theme for the last 30 minutes. And that's what this says right here, because he's not going to give us anything now, but it's good on Microsoft to get heads in places where they need to be to get their games out, because we're still waiting on IP. So there you go.
Are we going to have, is he going to create a game where you smash watermelons with a giant hammer?
Gallagher.
That was a bad joke. But
a great joke.
Here's the thing I'm thinking about with this guy. So he's behind games like that Tomb Raider game, okay, that reboot, right? Beautiful games. Now, you get a game like that in sort of in the vein of Horizon Zero Dawn or whatever. That just talking about that, I think that would spark a lot of hype for Xbox fans. I think if they were to announce that this guy is the guy who's building a game like that at E3, that would be hype enough to get people, invested into Xbox, and or to get hyped for it. Because think about it, man. Like if they were to come out and say, this is, I forgot his first name, but Gallagher, and he's going to be making, heading our first party studio to make a game in this, that's going to be like this and this, man, they can get people really hyped on that.
Fuck yeah.
And I say that's what they need to do, man. Go for it, man. Trot this guy out there, wheel him out. I don't know.
And I think that's exactly what's going to happen, because I don't think Booty would be like, wait till E3. I know that's a popular saying, but he said, you'll get more news at E3. And I think that's specifically for that reason. Anybody else have some comments on this topic?
I do. And here's the thing about it is Fonz brought up a good point, is that he was the CEO who helped do the reboot of the Tomb Raider franchise, or at least the first game, because I think he had left Crystal Dynamics before they finished Rise, but he may have been there for it. But let's take a look at that. Despite how a lot of people feel, the Tomb Raider reboot has been a phenomenal breath of fresh air for that series. It's put Lara Croft in a brand new light, helped to make her a stronger individual, gave her a lot more character depth, as well as being very interesting stories. The first one was a great survival story. I know, Fonz, you stated that you've had your issues with Rise because of the mysticism in it and that it seems a little off.
Yeah,
that's kind of par for the course, but I know where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, I just beat the game actually yesterday, and I gave it a 7 out of 10 because the story was dog shit in my opinion, but the game was fun.
Yeah, but the thing about that works out is that this guy has experience taking an old dormant franchise, or not really dormant, it was still around in the 360 years, but an established franchise, and taking a very iconic character for gaming and help revitalizing the entire series and really getting a new breath of fresh air. And we're going to see the third game out of that trilogy for the reboot with Shadow of the Tomb Raider next Friday. If anyone was a good spot to bring in, especially with all the dormant IPs that Microsoft has access to, bringing in Gallagher is the perfect person to do it, especially with the talks about the perfect dark reboot. He has a strong female character with what they did with Tomb Raider. He would be the perfect person to help lead a project to bring back and redo Perfect Dark with Joanna Dark. You know, this is something that he has experience with. Him being put into a brand new studio too, if that's the talks about it right now, is a great thing. Anyone who says otherwise or looks at it in any other way is just humoring themselves just to be, you know, outlandish. But this is a good thing.
It's true. It's true. Anybody else? Any comments?
I mean, the short comment I have is, I mean, bringing in the guy Gallagher from Crystal Dynamics and then Matt Booty, it just to me shows that Phil Spencer, like, he has a vision, like, of where he wants to take this company in the future, and that says a lot to me, just as a fan of the company, and I think everyone sees that.
Hell yeah, he's building a posse.
Like he's putting it together, you know. Yeah, it sucks we gotta wait, but you know what? They always say, what is that term? Good things come to those who wait.
There you go.
Shit, how long has PlayStation been waiting for all their games? I mean, fuck.
I mean, you're about to play one tonight, man.
Exactly. I mean, I'm all over it.
Yep.
Sweet. Anybody else before we get to the outros?
Thanks to Fonz. Every time somebody says Gallagher now, I start looking at this dude in a different light.
He says
So
Gallagher.
thanks,
I'm Dave Chappelle. He's like, the Black Gallagher.
Dude, right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, now I'm thinking about that. And now every time somebody says Gallagher, now I just giggle. Thanks, Fonz.
Bro, I grew up in the 80s, bro.
Booty and Gallagher, man. This is money.
Gallagher's hammer.
All I can start thinking is Wonderwall.
Black Gallagher ain't going out like no bitch.
All right. Well, it's been an awesome podcast, guys. For real.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. We had some awesome convo. The chat had me dying, man. We were talking about chips at one point, so you never know what you're gonna get in the chat of the saltiest podcast.
Salty.
That's for sure, man. We kept it salty in a different way, but yeah, it was awesome. I enjoyed it. Thank you to our guests. Let's start doing our outros. Titan Drago, where can people find you?
Everything at Titan Drago, man. I'll be on Xbox Live after this podcast. Freaking probably trying to get a group for 50v50 Fortnite or something.
Awesome.
I ain't gonna be on PlayStation Network, that's for sure.
I appreciate you coming on, man. We'll have to do it again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Our other guest, he's not a stranger, that's for sure. Nintendo Direct. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on. Where can people find you?
I just put my Twitter there in the chat, and that's where you can find me on Twitter. And you can find me on YouTube, Nintendo Direct, Nintendo News, things like that. And it's been a good time, man. It was good to be back after a little bit. I appreciate everybody on this panel, Fonz, Punk, Bloody, Drago. I enjoy watching your videos because they're funny. And everybody in the chat, hey, it was good. It was a good time.
It's true. Thank you for coming on again. Fonz, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter, trying to bring logic and common sense to the rest of the gamers. At J Fonzarelli. So you can find me here on YouTube as well. J Fonzarelli.
Sweet. Thanks, man. Thanks for showing up on No Sleep. We appreciate it. Punk, where can people find you besides playing God of War tonight?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can find me on Twitter at Punkadish Gaming. You will not find me on Xbox at Punkadish probably all week, and definitely on PlayStation with a single player. So why are you gonna send me an invite? No, for real. No, and then obviously every Thursday here at 8:30 Eastern, man. Love talking to you guys. Great to have Titan, and love having you back, Nick. Good times.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And Bloody, last but not least, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Bloody Knuckles. O's are zeros, E's are threes, and of course, they can find me on my show every Saturday, Smash Podcasts, all things nerdy. Talk about anime, movie, and comics, all the good stuff. And of course, they could find me on Fridays on GRG.
Awesome. Thank you. As for me, you're on the channel, Saltiest Gaming. Thanks for being here. Episode 32 was awesome. I'll probably get a video out tomorrow, hopefully, maybe. If not, then you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy God of War if you're playing it. And as always, stay salty, my friends.